Today, we are going to build an opening range indicator using Grok. I've had a lot of requests for more of these AI building videos and also a new opening range indicator that can be automated. So I figured, why not both? So, first of all, what is an opening range? The opening range is simply going to mark the highest and lowest price of a defined time. So here I have it between 9:30 and 9:45 a.m. Eastern. The idea of an opening range is to find this specified time and enter at the breakout of it. And guys, there are many different variations for order management or what the best time for the opening range is. But for this video, we're just going to focus on building an indicator that marks these points. And we will likely do another video later where we actually automate this indicator. Okay, so I got Grok open, and now we just need to make a plan on what we're going to do. So what exactly do we need from this indicator? So obviously we need an indicator that's going to mark the highest and lowest point of our defined time. But I also want these to have exposed plots so that we can use some wood strategies as well. Next, we need to be able to customize the time that we're looking at. This will make it a lot easier for the user to customize directly from the properties. So whether you're looking at a 1 minute opening range or the first hour opening range, the user will have that customization directly from the properties. And then to add to all of this, I would also love to see the time zone setting. So not everyone is in the same time zone. So being able to set it to Eastern or Central or whatever time you like, it would be very helpful to a lot of people. And I think that's all we're going to do for now. So let's start off with these and then we'll go from there. All right, so let's just let it load and it's going by pretty quick. It's giving us a lot of snippets here and it doesn't really give me a final product. I'm really not sure why it did this or why it didn't just put it all together. I'm sure if I read all of this, it will tell me exactly why, but I'm not going to waste time with this. I'm just going to ask it to put it all together for me. All right, now just give it a sec, let it load. And now it looks like we actually got something to work with. So at this stage, I'm not going to waste too much time trying to dissect all of this code. Most people using AI are just looking to type in a command and have it done for them. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy this over to NinjaTrader. I'm going to make a new indicator in our Ninja script, and I'm just going to make sure I give it the same name as the namespace from our Grok script. This will make it a little bit easier to copy and paste in the future. Okay, now we're just going to copy and paste our code directly into Ninja script and hit that compile button, and we get a bunch of errors. All right, so I'm not going to spend too long trying to resolve all of these errors. For now, I'm just going to type in what we're seeing and see if Grok can actually fix these problems. And because we have so many, I'm just going to copy over some of them and we'll see if it's able to fix anything that's related to one another. Okay, so let's try this again one more time and see what it comes up with. All right, so I'm just going to copy and paste our new code over to Ninja. I'm going to compile it one more time, and it looks like we still get some errors. But it also looks like a few of them were resolved, so at least we're trending in the right direction. All right, so this time I am actually going to type in every one of these errors in hope that we can get it resolved. Okay, so now it's just thinking and trying to troubleshoot what's happening. And we are going to try this new code. So I'm going to copy it and transfer it over to Ninja, hit that compile button once again, and we are still seeing these. But the good news is it went down to only 4 this time. So slowly but surely we're getting there. Let's try one more time to see if we can finally get all of this resolved. So once again, type it all out and then copy the results back to our Ninja script, hit that compile button, and well, maybe not. Okay, so let's just take a look here. The first thing I see with this is this time zone option. It doesn't seem to exist. So I could be wrong, but I don't think this is an actual thing with NinjaTrader. I believe what I've seen done in the past is we must create our own drop-down list using strings, and those strings will type out what our specified time zone is. But I do want to see if Grok can fix this on its own. I want to try to interfere with this the least amount possible. So let's try again. Let's see. And just letting it load. So it looks like it understands what the problem is, but I don't think it appears to be able to figure out why it's not working in this context. So yeah, it just looks like it's going to give us more of those same problems. But let's see. I'm going to copy and paste it to our NinjaTrader. And okay, it fixed one of the issues. But again, that time zone option, I don't think it's a thing. So let's see if we can push it in a different direction of how we can select the time zone. I'm just going to let it load a little bit. And okay, it seems like it came up with a different solution that time. So hopefully this does the trick. So once more, I'm going to copy and paste this over to NinjaTrader, hit that compile button, and yes, we finally get it compiled. All right, so here we have our chart, and this is that drawing from earlier. Let's not worry about that for now. Let's just load our new indicator. So we scroll down to the custom opening range. I think that's what it was called. Yep. Okay, so in the properties for our indicator, we have our start time and the end time. And these do look kind of ugly. We will fix that and turn them into an actual time selector, but we are just testing this for now. Our time zone is set to Eastern. Okay, that's all perfect. Let's just hit apply. And okay, and it looks like we actually get some lines on the chart. So let me remove this drawing here. We don't need that anymore. And everything seems to actually be okay. So we start our time at 9:30 a.m., just like we defined, and it keeps adjusting the levels as it makes new highs and it makes new lows. Then once it hits that 10 a.m. mark, it stops updating and our line stays straight. So that is all perfect. All right, so I'm just going to scroll to a previous day, and it seems to cut off the lines at midnight, but all of the days seem to start perfectly at that 9:30 mark, and they go until 10 a.m., which is perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. So let's just check one more over here, and yep, that one also appears to be good. So let me just test a few different settings here. I'm going to try, let's do 8 a.m. until 8:45 a.m. just to see if the time selector actually works. So load it one more time and yes, okay, our new start is back here at 8 a.m. We scroll a little bit and yes, it stops updating at 8:45. And one last thing I want to check is just our time zone. So I'm just going to test this out. I'm going to change it to Central. Right now, my computer's set to Eastern. So 8 a.m. Central should be 9 a.m. Eastern. So, yeah, that pushes it exactly where it's supposed to be. This is all perfect. So now all that we have to do is make signals to make automating this a whole lot easier. And also, let's clean it up to make it look pretty. All right, so first, let's start with functionality because the end game here is to be able to actually automate this indicator and create a working strategy around it. So first, I want to make sure that we have signals that will allow us to do this as easy as possible. So first, I want the signal that can be used with Strategy Builder. And what I want with that is a plot that is going to mark a +1 when it breaks out above the upper range and a -1 when it breaks below the lower. And because I know many of you like to play that over under and under over for rejection type trades, I'm also going to add a +2 for under over and a -2 for over under. That way it keeps all long entries as positive numbers and all short entries as negative. So let's type this out. Please add one signal plot that can be used with Strategy Builder. It will be at 0 when no signal is given, then +1 for when it crosses above the upper, -1 when it crosses below the lower, then +2 when it crosses above the lower, -2 when it crosses below the upper. And for those of you making your lives much easier with the Predator X, I also want to add some custom draw object signals so that we can automate it and take advantage of all of the Predator's order management system. So we're going to do that over here. So add an option for some up and down arrows during these signals as well. The tag names should be above upper, below lower, above lower, below upper. But please make it so that the user can customize these tags. And please also make a bool condition for the +1, -1 signal, and another for the +2 and -2. And lastly, I want to make sure that we have some more time zone options for those in Europe, Asia, and Australia, or make a current local time the default. And that should be it when it comes to the functionality of our indicator. Now, let's just focus on actually making it look nicer. So first, let's clean up the time properties. I want an actual time selector. These numbers here, I don't like that. Next, I want to add a highlighted area just for the opening range. And this is going to make it a little bit easier to see where our zone starts and where it ends. So let's just make sure users have the option to remove it if they don't want to see it, but give them the option of the color and the opacity as well. All right, so that is quite a handful of commands. Let's see if Grok can get all of this done. And all right, it's loading. It looks like it added a whole bunch of new code. All right, so just taking a quick look here, we have new properties for highlights and signals, and we also have more time zone options. All right, so it's all looking good. Let's just copy and paste this code over to our NinjaTrader, and we're going to hit that compile button. And it looks like we have some problems here with the draw arrows. And honestly, I'm not seeing anything that is wrong here. They actually look pretty good. So maybe it's just a missing declaration. With every AI I've used, they all tend to remove the default NinjaTrader ones and cause all sorts of issues. So just be careful of that. So let's just see if it can fix it and just give it a minute to load. And it looks like it did not add any new declarations. But if I scroll to the bottom, funny enough, it shows that that is the problem. So maybe I'm missing something here. So let's just copy it over. And yeah, it's still a problem. And we have a new problem here actually. Show garbled arrows. This is definitely garbled. All right, so let's try again. We need to see why it garbled the response. And also, we need to get it to add that declaration from our first issue. Okay, so it looks like it was a typo. And it also added the declaration. So, one more time, let's copy everything over and compile. And one last error to deal with here, hopefully. But it looks like it's something to do with this region highlight. And I'm honestly not the best with highlight. I haven't used it much in the past. So let's just see if Grok can handle this problem for us. Okay, so it looks like it ended up using 9 arguments instead of 8. So it's nice that Grok tells you where the problem is and how it fixed it. And this is all learning for me too. I'm just copying it over. And what is all of this? Okay, I'm just going to actually go back to the previous version and I'm only going to change the related code snippet. And now we get these errors. And let's try again. I'm just copying this to Grok and it seems like it recognizes them and made a fix. So let's compile it again and back to this. So we need to see if it can fix it on its own or if I need to intervene on this one as well. And I think Grok is getting mad at me. It's starting to slow down quite a bit with the replies. So I'm just going to give it a minute to let it load. All right, so we finally got it to load, but it looks like it got rid of the bool that we need here. So I don't think this is going to work. But let's try it again. And nope. Okay, so it looks like it's just trying to fix one problem by changing it to another problem. So let me see what's going on here. All right, so when we're looking at something like this, where we might not know exactly how it works right off the top of our heads, the best way to resolve it is just by opening up NinjaTrader's help guide they have a ton of examples for all of this. So just go through those examples and just comparing it to the sample here. Here's your tag. Then we need a bool here instead of these zeros. So let's change that. Here we have our start and end time. So now we just need two colors, one for the outline and one for the area. And I think this is trying to get a percentage, but this should already handle that. So I'm going to switch this to a 20. Okay, so let's just try and compile that. And it looks like we got something. All right, so let's refresh our indicator. And it appears to not work anymore. So let's go inside the properties. We're going to uncheck some of these, try again. And no, nothing. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up the Ninja script output. Sometimes it gives us a clue to what's going on. So here it is, and it looks like we're getting this error here. So what I'm going to do is type this directly into Grok and see if it can come up with a solution. So first, I'm going to tell it that I updated the region highlight to actually make it work. That way it knows to include it in the new versions. And now I'm going to copy and paste this error from our output and see if I can fix it. Okay, so now just going to let it load. And yeah, okay, so it looks like it addressed one of the things, but completely went back into the old draw region that was giving us a problem. Okay, before we upgrade, I'm going to copy my draw region code, comment it out so we can get it later. And now I'm just going to copy the actual Grok code, and then I'm going to move that draw region back. So now we're just going to compile, and yep, we get more errors. All right, so let's take a look at this. Why is this different? I think it's just trying to add mistakes so it uses all my free prompts and forces me to get the paid version. Well, not today, Elon. Let's change this so it matches the other ones. And let's try again. And it looks like we get it to compile. So back to the chart, and it looks like we're back in business. Only problem is this region highlight, it seems to be highlighting the entire range of the chart and not just the zone we defined. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Because I want to include all of these fixes, I'm just going to copy this code over and ask it why it's highlighting the entire chart and not just the area for our opening range. All right, so it seems like we're still getting some more of these problems with that draw region. So I've actually done a little bit of research on this on the side here, and it looks like using this style of draw region may actually be a better solution to what we're currently trying to do with the draw region. Why? With this one, it still lets us define our start and the end time, and it lets us highlight a specific area as well. So I'm just going to try to push Grok in that direction and give it some of the same syntax I found within the NinjaTrader help guide. And hopefully that's going to help it make a much more informed decision. Okay, so just letting it load and looking at the code here, it looks like it did adjust it to that draw region instead of the draw region Y. So let's copy this over to our NinjaTrader, hit that compile button, and it actually compiles. All right, now let's just refresh our indicator. And, well, that's not good. Yep, seems the highlight is gone for all of them. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that when it starts highlighting, that it does so all the way from the start time and continue updating until the end time for that day. So let's see if it can fix it. Okay, so letting it load, it looks like it made an adjustment to our draw region code. And I'm just waiting for it to finish so we can update this to our NinjaTrader. All right, so now that it's done, I'm going to copy it over. Let's compile. And now we're going to refresh our chart and still nothing. Okay, I'm going to try one more time with Grok. And if that still doesn't work, I'll have to take over once again and see if we can figure out what is happening here. So before I ask Grok anything else, just reading through the prompts, it does give us some troubleshooting tips here. So let's actually go through these and copy and paste this over to our draw region. Then I'm going to compile. And now that that's done, I'm going to refresh our indicator. And this will give us a bunch of prints in our Ninja script output. So now I'm going to take a bunch of these prints, I'm going to copy them over to Grok. And on top of that, just to kind of push it more in the right direction, I found a bunch of these tips in the draw region help guide as well. So I'm going to feed it all of that information and see if it finds it helpful at all. All right, now that it finished loading, we're going to do all of this one more time. And let's copy it over to NinjaTrader. Let's compile everything. And for the moment of truth, oh, I think we got something here. So let's just refresh. And it's actually highlighting the region properly this time. So let's scroll back a little bit to see the other days. And okay, these are not highlighted, but I think that's just a matter of creating a unique tag for each one. So I'm just going to go back to our draw region code and I'm just adding a current bar to the tag. This should make it so all of the previous days are going to be highlighted as well. Okay, so let's just compile that. We're going to refresh and yep, all seems to be working now. Now we're just going to test the bool options inside the properties, and this is going to hide the highlight, and these are going to hide the arrows if we choose. And lovely, yep, that's all working. All right, so everything seems to be okay, but before we close up, let's just make sure that these plots actually work with Strategy Builder because we do want to end up automating this indicator. So to check that, I'm just going to open up Strategy Builder, create a new strategy, and we're going to skip right to the conditions and actions page. So from here, we're going to add indicators and we're going to look up the custom opening range. And okay, we see all of our options here, but if we go down to the plots, we cannot select the value for the one we want to use. And we will absolutely need this to make it easier to use if we plan to automate this. So I'm just going back to Grok and typing out one last prompt so it can convert these plots so we can actually use them on Strategy Builder. So once again, just letting it load, and it finally gave us what we needed. So after copying this over to NinjaTrader and compiling it, it's just a matter of double checking in Strategy Builder, and we were able to confirm that we indeed do have the plot signals that we need in order to customize this fully on Builder. All right, guys, this video is already quite long, and I think this is going to be a good place to cut it. I'm probably going to fine tune the properties a bit and a couple extra little features on my end just to help clean it up a little bit. But I think this was a good example of what to expect when using AI to help build these indicators. And yes, AI is a ton of help, and we were finally able to achieve our desired outcome. But we did have several times where we had to intervene and make sure we were feeding it the correct prompts. So sometimes you'll find that it does get stuck in some sort of a loop and it doesn't quite know how to fix it. And that's where the human factor has to come into play. So I say this every time, AI is a great helper, but you still need to know what you're doing, or even more importantly, where to find the answers. But, anyways, I'm going to cut the video here. I hope you found this video helpful. All download links are going to be down in the description. As always, take care, enjoy.